Why are your fish beating each other up, and what can you do to stop it? In this video, we're going to give you not 1, but 10 ways you can fix that problem. One of the best ways to prevent fish aggression is to not let it happen to begin with. Now, I understand there might be a case where you have a fish go rogue that wasn't supposed to, and it ends up terrorizing your tank. But if you do your research and you put the right fish together, that shouldn't happen, and you shouldn't have this problem. Between internet forums, Facebook groups, magazines, and, well, YouTube, there's simply no excuse for not doing the proper research prior to buying your fish. Even if you're in the store looking at fish you've never seen before, a quick Google search on your phone could be the difference between a happy tank and a war zone. If you find that one fish that you simply have to have, but through your research you see that this fish is known to be super aggressive, my advice to you is just skip that one for now. Set up another tank that'll accommodate that particular fish, and then you should be fine. Trust me, just don't take any of these chances. It almost never works out well.
When new fish keepers set up their first tank, it's not uncommon for them to overcrowd it with fish. They walk through the fish store and they're like, oh, I want one of those, 2 of those, a few of those, and I gotta have a couple of those. This is completely understandable because this is all new and everything looks so cool, but unfortunately, this can become a problem really quick. If your first tank is a 10-gallon and you put 15 fish in there, then there's not a lot of room for them to move around and get away from each other. And this can cause some issues, and that can be a problem. Upgrading to a bigger tank will give them room to get away from each other and find their own places to hang out. Just make sure you don't make the mistake of saying, oh, now that I have all this extra room, I can go get more fish. If you do that, you'll be right back where you started, and this is why you'll see a lot of people end up having 20 or 30 tanks.
One of the things that some fish will regularly fight over is territory. They pick a small spot in the aquarium, they claim that spot as theirs, and anyone that comes near it, they just push them away. This might just start out as shooing them away, but if the intruder is persistent, it could eventually turn into a fight. Well, if you start to notice this happening in your tank, there's a real easy solution. Just take that territory away from the fish. I know some of you might think that sounds mean, the fish is really comfortable and you take that away from them, but trust me, this is something that works almost every single time. You just take everything out of the tank, set everything back up again, gives you an opportunity to be creative, and then when you put the fish back in there, they have to figure all that stuff back out again, and they'll eventually find another spot that they claim is theirs, but you can just keep repeating this process, and hey, it gives you something new to do. Each time, you can do a whole new aquascape, and that's a lot of fun.
There's a misconception that dither fish are sacrificial fish, that they're put in your tank to get killed rather than the special fish getting killed, and that's simply not true. The purpose of dither fish is to provide a distraction for the fish, to take their minds off of wanting to beat each other up. Think of it like a mobile for babies. You put a mobile in a baby's crib to stimulate their brain and get them to focus on that rather than the fact that they're in a crib. That's what dither fish are. They provide a distraction and movement in the tank to distract the other fish. Some of my personal favorites are any type of danio, white clouds, or even rummy-nosed tetras. Shocker. Again, these aren't sacrificial fish. These are just a distraction. If these fish are in your tank and they're getting killed, then you have a much bigger problem than you thought.
If you have some mean fish in your tank and there's a couple of fish that are getting bullied, a simple solution to this problem could be just providing those fish that are being bullied a little place to retreat to when things go south. This could be little caves, a space behind some driftwood, or even a bunch of plants with big leaves that fish can hide behind. Yes, it's true, you could end up with the same situation we talked about earlier where fish fight over territories, but the thing is, if all of the fish have their own space they can go to, you should have peace. If they don't have anywhere to go to retreat from all of that abuse, they just have to kind of sit there and take it, and nobody wants to see that. So give your fish little places they can go to retreat, and everything hopefully will be fine.
So John just talked about giving your fish hiding spots. Well, I want to talk about removing the hiding spots for some of your fish. Yes, hiding spots are a great place for a fish to retreat and avoid aggression, but they can also make some fish aggressive. An example would be some South American cichlids. Even if there aren't any females in the tank, some male cichlids will claim a spot, and it'll be the place he wants to bring the ladies back to spawn with him. When he picks a spot like that, he's gonna fight any fish that comes around there just to get them away from that spot. Unfortunately, you're not gonna really know this is happening until it actually happens, so if you see the boys fighting over a spot, you might wanna take it away from them. Hiding spots can be good and they can also be bad. So paying attention to what's going on in your tank is super important because you might have to provide them with a hiding spot or you might have to take it away.
You may not realize this, but the condition of your aquarium can greatly affect your fish's attitude. Think about it. You'd be upset too if your surroundings were constantly filthy, you were swimming around in your own toilet, and the air you breathe is gross. This is one of the easiest issues to resolve though. Get off your butt and clean your tank, and don't let it get out of hand again. Problem solved.
Okay, let's use a human analogy. If we were faced with the end of the world, what would happen? In the beginning, things would be okay while everyone scrambles to get enough stuff to take care of their families, but as time goes on, what would happen? Food would start getting more and more scarce, and when that happens, everyone would be fighting over one thing and one thing only: food. I know, that's being a little over dramatic, but it's true. If you're not feeding your fish enough, they're gonna go into survival mode, and it's gonna be every fish for themselves. Keep them well fed, don't let them feel like the world's about to end, and they'll be fine. You'll just have to worry about, all the other stuff on the list.
All right, let me lay a scenario out for you, and you tell me what you think would happen. Take 10 single 20-year-old dudes and put them in a room somewhere for a really long time. And then after a while, add one 20-year-old single woman. What do you think's gonna happen? I know we like to think that everything would be fine, but let's be honest with each other. It wouldn't. It would start out with those 10 dudes all doing little things to try to impress the woman. And if that doesn't work out, they would start going to greater lengths to try to impress her. And if that still doesn't work, then you're going to find all 10 of those dudes fighting over this woman. We don't want to think that it would happen, but oh yeah, it would. Nah, John, men aren't like that. All right. If you don't think that 10 dudes in a room wouldn't fight over the one woman that's there, I'd like to get a ticket to the fantasy land that you're living in. Anyway, fish are the same way. In fact, it's really all male fish know how to do. They know how to eat, breathe, poop, swim, and breed. If you got a bunch of males in a tank and just a couple of females, you can expect all of those males to be constantly fighting to see which one gets the girl. Now, if you have a bunch of different types of fish, this won't usually be an issue, but if you have a species-only tank like my yellow lab tank and the male to female ratio is out of whack, you can expect some serious problems. it'd be best to just rehome whatever you have the smallest number of. Like if you have 12 fish, 10 of them are males and 2 are females, go ahead and rehome those 2 females. And then whenever you go to the store to buy more fish, just make sure you're getting males. You might have to pay a little bit more, but hey, in the end, it's worth it.
This is the saddest part of the whole video because you've tried everything on this list and nothing has worked. We've been in this position many times, so believe me, we know how frustrating it is, and the worst part about it is there's really only a couple things you can do at this point. The first option is to do something that you might actually look at as a good thing, and that's set up another tank. So you can separate the fish and everyone will live happily ever after. But what if you can't afford another tank or you don't have space for another one? Well, that's when you're gonna have to do what no fish keeper wants to do. And no, I don't mean to kill the mean fish. I'm saying this is when you'll have no choice but to rehome the mean fish. The best thing would be to take them back to the fish store or give the fish to a friend. As fish keepers, we don't want to admit defeat, but sometimes we have no other choice and we have to do what's best for the fish.
So there you have it. There's our top 10 things that we think you can do to help curb aggression in your aquariums. Let me know down in the comments below if there's anything else that you think we missed that should have been included in this video. This video was a whole lot of fun to do. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.